Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post. Disney and Universal have had it with Midjourney. They're suing them for producing AI versions of their copyrighted characters. And they do have a significant point here. How is it that Midjourney can charge subscriptions for access to their website, and on their website, they have existing copies of copyrighted characters, and you can create your own personalized versions of those copyrighted characters, and you're paying a subscription for that? Maybe if the service were free, or maybe if it were just a tool. There are a lot of technology issues here, and a lot of copyright issues. And with technology changing the way it has, and AI now becoming a permanent part of a lot of art creation and a lot of character creation, big companies like Disney and Universal really have to get out ahead of the problems. Part of being able to hold on to the ownership of your intellectual property is protecting it, is going after people and companies when you feel like they're infringing on it. So they really had to do this lawsuit, or they had to come up with some kind of licensing deal with Midjourney. There is no licensing deal with Midjourney, so it's got to be a lawsuit. But this is the kind of thing where if Disney and Universal and other Hollywood companies permit it, there's no way to really understand as the industry develops and as AI art develops, is it a consumer product? Is it just like a hobby thing? What about publication rights? What about revenues generated from the exploitation of those rights? There are going to be videos very soon on Midjourney. There's AI video that most of us have seen by now on the internet that actually looks pretty amazing. And then as people put more and more copyrighted characters in their video generations, whether on Midjourney or somewhere else, and then they start to make money off of those things, or even just the idea that you could take a character like Thanos and then present him in his own story, either in a flattering way or an unflattering way, or in ways that might confuse the value of the character with the potential customers of that character. How about Disney doing their own Thanos stories, utilizing AI? Are they going to give up the right to do that if they don't pursue protecting their copyrights? They don't even know themselves what they're going to do with all these characters, but they do know they don't want other people building a business off of them or being in a position to either weaken or damage their intellectual properties. From The Hollywood Reporter, Disney and Universal launch AI legal battle, sue Midjourney over copyright claims. Quote, "Piracy is piracy," says Disney's chief legal officer, as the studios aim to show that tools allowing personalized AI slop creations of characters like Darth Vader or Shrek run afoul of their IP. As far as slop creations or lousy creation versions of intellectual property, Disney's about the worst offender of all that, but they do own it, so it is within their rights to damage their own intellectual property. Some of the things that people are producing on Midjourney, I made this thumbnail on Midjourney with Thanos. That looks pretty cool to me. But no, Disney wasn't the one who provided this image. It didn't come off of a search for Thanos images that got clipped out of a movie. And that's the kind of thing that Disney's worried about. In the next chapter of Big Entertainment versus Big Tech, Disney and Universal have filed a lawsuit against artificial intelligence company Midjourney over tools that allow users to create images and videos that can manipulate famous characters at the click of a prompt. And I can assure you, I am pretty good now at utilizing Midjourney to create some pretty cool images. All the cool images that are new and created are on my thumbnails from Midjourney. That's the only AI I use. I will sometimes use images that are pre-existing from like a Google search, but 90% of all my images are from Midjourney, and I'm not drawing them myself. I'm getting them from manipulating Midjourney. It does take some skill if you're going to create something new. But after a while, yeah, it's an incredible tool. It is a tool. It's not just a source of unlicensed images, although it is also a source of unlicensed images. There are a lot of aspects to this. We'll get into them. The lawsuit filed in U.S. District Court in Los Angeles on Wednesday by Disney Enterprises, Marvel, Lucasfilm, 20th Century, Universal City Studios Productions, and DreamWorks Animation describes the David Holtz-run generative AI firm Midjourney as a bottomless pit of plagiarism. And the reason why Disney and Universal are now teaming up like right away now is because they just settled their dispute with NBC Universal's parent company Comcast over the stake in Hulu that Disney bought from Comcast. Disney really stole Hulu from Comcast. Comcast Universal wanted another $5 billion for their stake in Hulu beyond what Disney already paid them. And they really did deserve it. Hulu really was a very special asset. And it's done a lot for Disney, and it will do a lot more for Disney in the future. But their agreement didn't say they were going to get exactly what the market value was, and that's also difficult to determine. So basically, Disney got to steal it by giving them only another $438 million when they should have had to give them at least another $5 billion. But that's life. The legal battle marks the first major foray from Hollywood against tech giants that are hoping to reorient consumer habits with personalized entertainment and information by vacuuming up data on the internet and spitting it out in the form of chatbot copy or images. So far, Wall Street has bet big that AI will be a major economic driver in the future, and AI companies have raised tens of billions of dollars to realize that vision. Even though AI companies are not that profitable yet, they are generating billions of dollars in revenue with billions of dollars in expenses to run all their computers to produce all this AI content. Major film and TV studios have not yet inked significant deals with AI companies to license their intellectual property to tech giant tools that are now used by millions of users. That marks a different tack from major media companies, which have largely decided to take checks to license content to companies like OpenAI versus spend millions fighting in court. The New York Times is an exception and has spent $10 million or more fighting OpenAI so far. It really does feel like for intellectual properties and characters, it's really too soon to go licensing your content, licensing your ideas, your characters to AI companies. How would you really do the quality control? How would you limit how they can be used? How would you limit how they can make money from them? You'd almost have to use AI to watch AI using the AI creations from the AI licensees. I guess you could do that. It does sound pretty complicated. In the meantime, maybe they could scare Midjourney somehow and get them to exclude the Disney characters or anything else Disney owns. I'm not sure what the objective here is other than so far to scare Midjourney and get Midjourney to start thinking twice about how they're going to use and feature copyrighted characters on their website. If they want to promote themselves as a tool to help you create art that occasionally somehow do create some copyrighted characters, that's one thing. But if they're going to feature copyrighted characters and make that part of the reason to subscribe to their service, that could be a problem. All of it's really a problem. The courts are still really undecided about all this. The complaint from Disney and Universal details how Midjourney's tools easily allow users to create image-based works created on intellectual properties owned by Disney and Universal, like Darth Vader or Shrek at the beach, or whatever you can come up with. This is commonly called AI slop, and many likely already see it in their social media feeds and on their thumbnails. Quote, if a Midjourney subscriber submits a simple text prompt requesting an image of the character Darth Vader in a particular setting or doing a particular action, Midjourney obliges by generating and displaying a high-quality downloadable image featuring Disney's copyrighted Darth Vader character, the complaint reads. The complaint offers AI-generated images of Vader, Stormtroopers, How to Train Your Dragon characters, Minions, and Shrek, and many more as evidence of copyright infringement perpetuated by Midjourney. And it singles out Star Wars character Yoda with a side-by-side comparison. Midjourney's version of Yoda is close enough to Yoda to actually be Yoda. The Hollywood studios go on to allege that Midjourney is able to provide such outputs because its tools have already ingested copyrighted intellectual property across the web as training data. Quote, Midjourney downloaded from the internet and from other sources content using tools variously described as bots, scrapers, stream rippers, video downloaders, and web crawlers. And that's according to the complaint, alleging that the AI company's CEO David Holtz admitted that to collect the training data, Midjourney, quote, pulls off all the data it can, all the text it can, all the images it can. That does sound like a problem because Disney does own that copyright. At the same time, a human artist, if they're going to create an image, they will reference other existing images. Sometimes they draw right out of their heads. But often, and a lot of times, especially if it's for accuracy purposes, or sometimes just for a dynamic idea or composition, they copy multiple types of references. But that is a unique creation, not because it's a human. It's copyrightable because it's a human. But because in most cases, they've used the reference in a way that doesn't infringe on other people's work. But not always. The studios also claim that Midjourney then cleaned and converted digital files of copyrighted intellectual property to use in its training data so that its tools could then provide outputs allowing users to create things like personalized Yoda, Vader, or Shrek images. Quote, when a subscriber enters a prompt for an image of Spider-Man, Minions, Iron Man, or any of the plaintiff's countless copyrighted characters, Midjourney creates yet another copy of that character which it publicly displays and/or distributes via download, according to the complaint. The lawsuit highlights that not only does Midjourney allow the creation of these works based on Disney and Universal's copyrighted characters, the AI company goes further by having them displayed in its Explore section of the website, a sign that the studios say Midjourney is fully aware of what its product does and is capitalizing on its plagiarism. So it's not just that they're taking copyrighted works and then training data and then reproducing a copyrighted work based on the trained data. It's how they're displaying it on the website to try to attract people's attention to say, okay, you should sign up, you should subscribe, because look at all these cool images we already have and the ones that you can make of your favorite characters. That kind of display of those copyrighted characters does feel more like it's a way to get subscribers than it's an appropriate use of other people's creative work. So that's not appropriate. That's not just creative expression. That's exploiting licensed characters to get more subscribers. The courts are going to have to figure this one out, though, and it's really complicated because creating things with AI is utilizing a tool, and the source material matters, and the fact that the source material are based on copyrighted characters, what the level of contribution is from the person that's making the art is relevant. It's very complicated. And then the use of that art, even if it was human created, if they had a section of art that they thought was really cool that humans created completely on their own, not using AI, and that was part of their subscription section or part of their website that was highlighted that, hey, don't you want to have access to this and interact with this and enjoy this? If you're doing that with copyrighted characters, that's also an issue, even if it's created by human beings. Quote, Midjourney's publication and curation of infringing images on the Explore page on their website show that Midjourney knows that its platform regularly reproduces plaintiffs' copyrighted works, and that the Explore page is intended to advertise Midjourney's ability to infringe the copyrighted works, according to the complaint. And the complaint goes on to allege that Midjourney has the tools in place to prevent outputs that run afoul of copyrighted intellectual property, but it chooses not to do that. Quote, Midjourney controls and has the ability to control generative outputs through readily available technical protection measures, according to the studios. Quote, despite having the ability to do so, Midjourney has affirmatively chosen not to use copyright protection measures to limit its infringement. Midjourney has limited the creation of some of the images that I try to create. Sometimes you can understand why, sometimes you can't understand why. It doesn't look like any of the times that I've ever messed around with or created intellectual property-based characters like this Thanos thumbnail I used. I can't think of a time that they stopped me from producing something like that. They even banned creating political figures during the last campaign. So they understand who these people are, what they look like, and if you go to search Trump, for example, on Midjourney, at least the last time that I checked, nothing comes up. So yeah, they can identify specific looks and characters and costumes and things, and maybe they do wind up doing that. It depends what happens, I guess, with this lawsuit. The top legal officer of Disney put it more simply in a strongly worded statement accompanying the lawsuit. Quote, piracy is piracy. Using that phrasing frames the fight against Midjourney in familiar language to the studio's lobbying group, the Motion Picture Association, which also talks up its fight against piracy. But the MPA so far has mostly gone after websites that show unauthorized movies and TV shows, not AI companies, despite the prevalence of users flocking to AI-powered tools. Quote, our world-class IP is built on decades of financial investment, creativity, and innovation, investments only made possible by the incentives embodied in copyright law that gives creators the exclusive right to profit from their works, stated Disney's general counsel Horacio Gutierrez. Quote, we are bullish on the promise of AI technology and optimistic about how it can be used responsibly as a tool to further human creativity. But piracy is piracy, and the fact that it's done by an AI company does not make it any less infringing. There have been extensive debates about creators not getting compensated by Disney in one way or another for creative work or characters they created for Disney, and that's a long-running argument. Did you give enough credit? Did you give enough money? Why are some of your creators of some of your most famous characters not doing so well? In most cases, those were deals that they made at a time when not everyone anticipated what the value of these characters might be. Disney now is the owner of these characters as if they created them. And they want to get paid when they're used, each time and every time. And if they're not paid, they're going to sue. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another story. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.